Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday News.
Let the water flow. I will speak to him directly. President John Dramani Mahama. Yellow blood do.
The Midday News is live on Joy 99.7 FM, Hits 103.9 FM in Accra, on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, streaming worldwide at myjoyonline.com, X Spaces, Facebook and YouTube. Also live in all 16 regions of Ghana via partner stations. And the Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. Coming up, all convictions secured by Office of the Special Prosecutor declared void as High Court judge orders fresh trials of all those cases. This afternoon, we are learning more about the explosive High Court judgment that has sent shockwaves across the country and the Attorney General's defense of the orders.
The court found that the OSP did not have authorization to prosecute at all. So you want the court to say that even though you don't have authorization to prosecute at all, you can prosecute some other people, but you can't prosecute this person before me.
Plus, the Deputy Attorney General on why the OSP has not requested authorization to prosecute.
OSP is not interested in coming for the authorization, and it's because the OSP says that it is independent and doesn't require the authorization. That is the issue at the center of it.
Also in this bulletin, National Pensions Regulatory Authority rejects allegations of doubled salaries and the use of a 700 million cedi loan facility to complete second phase of its headquarters, describing claims by the minority as false and misleading. And later, experts point to El Nino conditions in Ghana as some Ghanaians raise concerns over persistent heat, with some complaining about sleep difficulties, headaches and dizziness.
Of late, before I can sleep, I have to go and wash down, then chill outside before I can even go to the room.
It's just hot. Like, you can't even sleep when they off the lights Friday. You can't even sleep at all.
Details of that coming up in sports.
Football fans are set for action-packed weekend with FA Cup semi-finals, Women's Premier League final and blockbuster English Premier League fixtures.
To potential ahead of the National Cannabis Conference.
Right now, the way the team are going is not right because most people don't have the opportunity to go into the business, and this is a business that should help the youth.
These and more with me, Maame Esi Nyamekye Thompson. This is Joy News, independent, fearless and credible journalism. Now this afternoon, big news. An Accra High Court judge has declared as void all convictions secured by the Office of the Special Prosecutor as the controversy over the prosecutorial powers of that office rages. That same High Court judge has also ordered that the Attorney General takes over all criminal trials being undertaken by the Special Prosecutor. According to the judge, the Special Prosecutor failed to secure the authorization of the Attorney General as required by the law setting it up. My colleague Kweku Asante has been combing through that judgment and has come to the studio with more on this. So Kweku, interesting decisions there, but let's get to the judge's order annulling all these convictions. What are his reasons?
So we know that it was on Wednesday that big news came in from Justice Nyante's General Jurisdiction 10. At the time, we did not have the benefit of the full judgment, so we did not have the benefit also of the full orders of the court. The big news at the time was that the OSP had been stripped of its prosecutorial powers and had been asked to secure authorization from the AG or do not prosecute at all. But since this judgment became public, we now know that the judge went even further in making these orders. One of the main orders of the judge is that every single conviction that has been secured by the Office of the Special Prosecutor is now null and void. And let me read particularly from this part of the judgment. It says, consequently, any convictions, if any, secured by the respondent as a result of the purported exercise of prosecutorial power is hereby declared void, and I order the retrial of the persons convicted to be commenced de novo, that is, afresh by the Attorney General, pending the respondent, the Special Prosecutor, applying to the Attorney General for its officers to be authorized to conduct criminal prosecutions and the issue of the necessary executive instrument in that regard. The judge's analysis is to the effect that because the OSP did not have authorization at the time it conducted those trials that led to those convictions, it is all fruit of the poisonous tree and they are null and void.
So, Kweku, the judge has rejected the OSP's contention that there was a matter of constitutional interpretation and the request to stay the case and refer it to the Supreme Court. What happened?
So when this matter came before the High Court judge, one of the objections the Special Prosecutor's lawyers raised in court was to the effect that the reliefs that were being sought by the plaintiff or the applicant in this matter actually bordered on constitutional interpretation, for which reason they wanted the proceedings to be stayed and the matters referred to the Supreme Court. In fact, they drew the attention that they did raise the issue that some of these matters were already at the Supreme Court. But the judge in his view was that for there to be a constitutional interpretation matter at hand, the two parties in this matter should have put rival meanings on Article 88.4. And in fact, none of the parties had actually put rival meanings on that.
Okay.
It appeared both the SP and the applicants in this matter all agreed that Article 88.4 required that there must be authorization sought by the OSP. The judge's own reading also revealed the same thing. He cites a number of Supreme Court authorities to back his point that Article 88.4 is so clear and unambiguous and do not invite any interpretation. And so he sought to apply his understanding of that provision in tandem with Section 4 of the OSP Act and came to the conclusion that the OSP necessarily needed to secure the authorization. And having failed to do so was simply on a frolic of his own.
Right. So, Kweku, talking about impact, which convictions have been secured by the SP, which is now affected by these orders?
So if you look at the SP's website itself, since its establishment, 33 people have been put on trial with 10 cases still being prosecuted. According to the Special Prosecutor, he has secured 7 convictions and the remaining at various stages of the court process. When it comes to the convictions, one involves Andy Thomas Owusu in the case of the Republic vs. Charles Bisu and another, which is linked to corruption in the illegal mining task force. This accused person admitted to taking a bribe to help bypass the process for securing a mining license and was fined and ordered to pay money back to the state. The other 6 convictions came from a separate case in Tamale involving Tahidu Yakubu, Abdullah Abubakar Siddiq, Sami Souk, Mohammed Yusuf J, Stafford Kolite Azude Barris, and Osman Ishaku. They were all convicted after a plea deal on charges including corruption, false certification, and causing financial loss to the state. What this means is that if anybody is in jail by virtue of this conviction, they can get their lawyers to apply immediately and get them out. If anybody has been ordered to pay fines, they can simply refuse to do so now because the orders that led them paying those fines or being ordered to pay those fines have all now been declared void.
Well, thank you, Kweku Asante. Interesting days ahead, really. Now, Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai insists the court acted within its jurisdiction in making the orders.
A high court ordinarily, faced with an application on a particular matter, will make orders to affect that particular matter. But when the particular matter is a question of someone's public authority, and that question has been answered, it goes to the public authority's foundation, not the accused person. So the question before the court is whether you have authority to conduct prosecution, and you are given an opportunity to show that you have the authority to conduct prosecution, and the court found out that you were not able to show that you have authority to prosecute. What other order should the court make that your lack of authority to prosecute is only in respect of this person, but when it comes to another person, even though you still don't have the authority, you will go and prosecute that person?
Sir, but because this was just a single matter, the authorization to be shown had to do with this particular matter. I'm not sure Justice Nyante was aware whether or not the OSP has authorization in any of the other cases he's prosecuting. It was limited to this particular case before him, and so there are those who suggest strongly that he had to make orders that bordered on the specifics of the issue before him.
The court found that the OSP did not have authorization to prosecute at all. So you want the court to say that even though you don't have authorization to prosecute at all, you can prosecute some other people, but you can't prosecute this person before me. In other words, you expect that even though the finding is that there's no authorization at all, every other accused person should go and then file a different case for the court to go through and come to the same conclusion, and for the court to come to the same conclusion. So the issue of having decided a case which doesn't apply to another case depends on the nature of the inquiry before the court. It is not a general rule that when the court is making a decision in respect of one person, and then he cannot make the decision will not go and affect the other person. If the question is about the person's authority and the finding is that he doesn't have the authority, on what basis would the court say that go and prosecute other people?
Well, on Wednesday, the Attorney General's Department took steps to assume control over all OSP's cases, and Dr. Sremsai has been explaining how that transition was carried out.
How does the Attorney General's compliance with the law, okay? Parliament made a law and says the Attorney General should do X, Y, Z, should appoint somebody, should nominate somebody. The Attorney General complies with the law to have that done. How is that an immunity to question of constitutionality? So what kind of argument is that?
Then, Justice, I want to know also, in your post, you are specific that you are taking steps to take over all the cases. How are you going to do that, and when are you doing that?
Okay, so as I indicated, I said in the coming days, so since the decision was given and since we got a copy of the decision, we have been having meetings with our officials and we've been planning what to do. And I think that's why I said in the coming days we will announce to the public the steps that we are putting in place to ensure that the court, the court's order is given effect to. And to assure the public, let me give this assurance to the general public. Issues of this nature, okay, requires persons who have deep public interest at heart, people who have the mentality to achieve what is right. And we are going to balance every possible interest to ensure that any step that we take to comply with the court decision is taken in the best interest of the people. It is taken with respect to the human rights of the people who are being prosecuted, who have been prosecuted.
Well, the Attorney General also says it is open to authorizing the OSP to prosecute, but the Special Prosecutor holds the view that his office is independent of the Attorney General's department and does not require authorization.
When what happens is the organization or the person, let me see, the person who wants to be authorized. So the institution will submit a list of persons that they want to be authorized, and then we issue executive instrument, or what we usually call a fiat, to the institutions that these persons can go and then prosecute on behalf of the Attorney General. So if you take Iyoko, for instance, it is not every lawyer in Iyoko who has the power to prosecute. The lawyers who have the power to prosecute in Iyoko are lawyers that come and we list them in the EI and tell them that these persons are authorized to prosecute.
So you heard that the Deputy Attorney General, Justice Sremsai, earlier on the Super Morning Show. Moving on, the National Pensions Authority has firmly rejected a raft of allegations leveled against its CEO, describing them as false and deliberately misleading. The minority members of Parliament for Old Tafel, Vincent Ekosefwa, on Thursday accused the CEO, Chris Boydie-Mensah, of increasing salaries and attempting to secure a 700 million cedi loan facility to complete Phase 2 of the authority's headquarters, while Phase 1 allegedly remains unused. However, the NPRA, in a statement, has denied these claims. But before we bring you details of their response, let's take a listen to Vincent Ekosefwa.
Headquarters, a state-of-the-art facility along the N1 highway, also known as the George W. Bush Highway, was financed through IGF, derived from the approximately 0.33% of the 2.5% pension administration fees. That gradual and prudent financing model was pursued over time, yet the facility remains uncommissioned to this day. Some 3-4 years ago, the NPRA committed a lot of money in building the first phase of the headquarters of the NPRA. And today, if you move along the N1 highway, that facility is there, uncommissioned, unused. We have a certain NPRA CEO who has also taken pensioners' money, about 700 million Ghana cedis, to go and expand that headquarters. a headquarters that you have not even used, a headquarters that you have not even commissioned.
Well, let's get some more details. My colleague Fatau Bayaga joins me in studio with that NPA response. So, Fatau, the NPRA has strongly rejected the claims regarding the Phase 2 project. What more can you tell us?
So, Maame, it says that it is important to clarify that Phase 1 of the project is still under construction and has not been completed. The authority cannot relocate to an uncompleted facility. A simple visit to the construction site will confirm this fact, and we encourage the public to independently verify the status of the building situated at Jolu along the N1 highway and directly opposite the 335 Place building. On Phase 2 of the headquarters, Maame, it says that it is worth noting that the project design and scope of work predates the appointment of Mr. Bwedi Mensah. The project consultant working on Phase 1, engaged by the previous management, gave expert advice that the Phase 2 foundation and ground floor parking needed to be constructed as part of the completion stage of the Phase 1. And then it says that the consultant's technical advice necessitated the commencement of the processes to raising funds for Phase 2. And in fact, they conclude that the allegation that the 700 million Ghana cedis has been borrowed on the back of the pension contributors to build Phase 2 office complex is completely false.
Right, Bayaga, thank you very much. Now, if you are experiencing severe hot weather conditions, then this may not be exclusive to you, because that is the concern of a cross-section of Ghanaians on the streets of Accra. A number of people who spoke to Joy News are worried over the ongoing heat wave during the day and night, resulting in discomfort and sleep issues. We can listen to some of them.
It's just hot. Like, you can't even sleep when they off the lights Friday. You can't even sleep at all. It's not raining, and there is like weather changes.
Of late, before I can sleep, I have to go and wash down, then chill outside before I can even go to the room.
These days, it seems the weather is so warm and so hot. Even if you on fan, you couldn't withstand it. It will be as a result of maybe the depletion of the ozone layer.
I feel maybe the UV rays are getting to us directly. That's why the weather is very hot nowadays.
But the weather in Accra is very, very hot. Yeah, and I know we are not yet in the raining season, but as we are in April, I think by May, June, the weather will be very, very warm. So right now, even sitting in Trotsky, you can feel the heat, and it's very, let's say the traffic is very hectic. So I think by May, June, the weather will be very warm. Even at night, it's cool. For me, it's cool. Yeah, but in the afternoon, it's very, very hot. Like early morning like this, it's very hot.
Well, we're joined via Zoom by Dr. Francis Nkrumah. He's a senior lecturer at the Department of Physics at the University of Cape Coast, for some understanding to this. Doc, grateful for your time. First, confirm to us if this heat wave concern is usual. Help us understand the reason for it.
Yes, thank you very much, and then good afternoon to your listeners. Yes, so what is happening now in terms of the heat wave, it's usual. And I'm saying that it's usual because over the time we've been observing these climate change issues that we've been talking about, and they are as a result of human activities. So over the years, the temperatures have been going up. So it is following the trend. So what we are seeing is actually following the trend of high temperatures. Right. So it is usual. Only that there are additional effects that has contributed to more of the heating. And one has to do with a certain phenomenon that we call the El Nino phenomenon. So the El Nino phenomenon has to do with changing temperatures over the oceans, somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. But it interestingly has rolling effect over the whole group. And when we have this El Nino effect, what happens is that it increases the global temperature. Okay, so it releases heat into the atmosphere, and it increases the global temperature. And this has also added up to the temperature that we are seeing. And it is even observed that
this year El Nino might be a record one, whereby the middle of the year it will have increased. Right. So the trend is normal. There has been other effects also from other phenomena.
All right, Doc. So what I'll also like to know is that Ghanaians are complaining about unusual headaches, dizziness, and even sleep difficulties. Could this be related to the heat wave?
Yes. So when there's heat stress or there's a lot of heat, it leads to what we call the heat exhaustion. So what we are observing now is heat exhaustion as a result of the heat wave that we are experiencing. So people would experience symptoms like chest, headache, dizziness, weakness, and even at times vomiting.
Thank you very much, Doc. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joe 99.7 FM. We'll take a break. When we return, we have sports. And later in our light story on the Midday News, even Supreme Court judges have a humorous side. And Justice Yalpel showed it perfectly, turning a solemn anniversary event into a moment of laughter.
Now people are saying the judges have taken $2 million, $1 million. Fortunately, I was one of the judges, but I didn't receive anything anyway.
And long shrouded in controversy, cannabis is now at the center of a fresh debate as advocates push for a shift from punishment to potential.
Not right, because most people don't have the opportunity to go into the business, and there's a business that should help the youth.
When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth with Kale Charcoal toothpaste. This gives me confidence all day.
Anytime you meet Amma, don't be surprised I smile showing my beautiful white teeth because I don't have cavity thanks to Kale Charcoal toothpaste for its natural charcoal properties. In fact, we are like twins. I can't go without my Kale Charcoal toothpaste.
That be why I dey use Kale Charcoal toothpaste morning and night when I dey go bed safe. It dey make my teeth white when it dey comot every scent from my mouth inside. My confidence level they go up, so I dey show my 32 teeth all.
Introducing the Kale Charcoal toothpaste, formulated with activated bamboo charcoal powder, ensures whiter teeth and removes bad breath. The strong natural property of the activated bamboo charcoal removes bacteria, absorbs surface stains on our teeth caused by coffee, wines, and tobacco. Welcome, Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste, Sankofa Yenchi.
Kale, happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to the Midday News. We have sports with Mubarak.
Maame Esi, an action-packed weekend awaits football fans beginning at 3 p.m. today at the Swedro Sports Stadium, where Nations FC face Aduana FC in the FA Cup semi-finals. On Saturday, 2023 winners Dreams FC take on two-time champions Midiama in the second semi-final clash. The Women's Premier League final comes off on Sunday with five-time winners Hazakes Ladies chasing another title against Ampem Dakwan Ladies, who have won it 4 times. In England, Chelsea host Manchester United at Stamford Bridge with Champions League places on the line, while Arsenal travel to face Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium with a title at stake. Who are you rooting for? Are you a United fan or a Chelsea fan or Arsenal fan?
You should know me by now. I don't put my heart in these things. I truly want to protect my emotions. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mubarak, for that. Well, as climate threats mount, vulnerable Ghanaian farmers need the right protection to weather the storm, to sustain production and their livelihoods. For climate evidence, Kofi Dunfer reports on agriculture insurance as a lifeline for farmers hit by the climate crisis.
Kofi Kranchi, a farmer of 40 years at Ejura in the Ashanti region, says when the weather fails, it becomes discouraging to till the land. Kofi's experience is increasingly common across Ghana's agricultural belt, where climate change is redefining the rules of farming. According to Dr. Victor Owusu, a researcher in coastal livelihoods management and agrarian food systems, the farming calendar is broken.
The evidence shows that those local indigenous adaptations are no longer able to withstand or cope with the rapid changes in the temperature and the rainfall.
This instability has eroded the resilience of rural farming households. A Greek economist, Dr. Jonas Osei-Edu, describes insurance cover for farmers as critical.
Why? Because with good insurance, you can even get funding from the banks. When you go to the bank, the first thing they look at is risk. So I remember there was the Ghana Agriculture Insurance Pool, but I don't know how far they have gone.
Despite its potential, agricultural insurance in Ghana remains underutilized. Agronomist Dr. Michael Odenki-Kwe says there should be opportunities to reduce the risk of farming enterprises.
Early warning systems must be in place. Again, the scientific community, those who are into the breeding, they should be looking at breeding varieties which are drought resistant.
As Ghana navigates its path through the climate crisis, integrating agricultural insurance into a broader resilience strategy will be key.
If we're able to actually convince farmers to take up insurance, that will also unlock capital from the banks to be able to propel agriculture to another level.
Kofi Edudomfe reporting for Climate Evidence.
Well, yesterday's 150th anniversary celebration of the Supreme Court was always expected to be formal and serious, but the mood briefly changed when Justice Yao Pil, who sat on the panel in the 2020 election petition, responded to false claims that the judges took bribes and left the room in laughter. Take a listen.
I remember I was listening to a radio program with panelists from the parties, MPP, NDC, social commentators. And then the panel from the MPP, he told the moderator, I pity these judges. They were then discussing the allegations of corruption. Then he says, why? He said in 2012, what these NDC people are doing now, in 2012, we also did it. I also said similar things about bribery. Meanwhile, I had no facts. Now people are saying the judges have taken $2 million, $1 million. Fortunately, I was one of the judges, but I didn't receive anything anyway. So he said, I pity these judges, because all these things we are saying, we have no facts, but we are saying them for political reasons. Here you see the work of a judge.
The work of a judge is difficult indeed. Well, organizers of an upcoming National Cannabis Conference are pushing back against what they call unjust treatment and marijuana users as they renew calls for policy reforms and highlight the planned potential to create jobs and boost revenue. Listen to the president of the Rastafari Council, Ghana, Ahoma Bosco Okansi.
Currently, we are not very pleased with the licensing regime. As you're aware, there's this lady in Chichiman who has gone to court to seek a relief against the current dispensation, because what we have now will not create jobs. What we'll have now will limit entry into the cannabis or the hemp cultivation. So that's our primary thing, that we believe that if the government sincerely wants to help the economy, help youths get jobs and think, that's not the way to go. Hemp in other countries is not regulated as a narcotic drug. It is regulated by agricultural ministry. So that's our basic thing. And apart from that, we also believe that the government should move away from the current situation where it seems as if we're encouraging international businessmen to come and take over the hemp industry. And these are some of the things that will elucidate more on Monday. Right now, the way the thing are going is not right, because most people don't have the opportunity to go into the business. And there's a business that should help the youth. It's a business that can help the economy.
Interesting there. And Adobia, do you know Ahoma Bosco was my former boss at Adom FM?
You mentioned he's been here before.
Yes. Well, it's set to be another thrilling weekend across Joy FM, Joy News and Joy Prime, packed with exciting must-watch and must-listen. Adobia, you have more to tell us?
Yes, we kick off on Saturday at 5:30 a.m. with Home Affairs on Joy FM with Adam Naite. And then it's straight into the Weekend City Show with Kofi Hayford and his unstoppable Laughing Gang. And then at 8 a.m. is the hard-hitting news file. It'll be simulcast, so that's Joy FM and Joy News. You know, they'll dive deep into discussions on the biggest national issues shaping the week. After that, Nathaniel Attor will bring Sports Link. And then at 2 p.m., Kwame Dazi and his team will serve as Showbiz A to Z. You don't want to miss it. After that, on 6 p.m., we have our wonderful news by our wonderful anchors. And then Sunday, the energy will keep flowing on Joy FM and on Joy News. Fifi Folsom will start the morning with uplifting worship songs. Ziggy will take the lead, will continue. And then there will be the midday news, and then at 2 p.m. we have Ultimate Health Show. And then you don't want to miss the weekend showdown. This Saturday at 8 p.m. on Joy Prime is Tardy versus Somenya on Beats and
before you
Bars.
move to that, there's the law.
Hey, yes,
at
yes,
2
yes.
p.m.
How
could you miss that?
Our
Our
best
best, in fact,
the law,
the
yes.
number one law show in the country.
James is also whispering to me that we almost forgot Prime Insights.
Can you imagine?
You know, we love our audience so much. We have a power-packed weekend for them. So please don't miss any show
At
on Joy
all.
News and Joy FM.
Thank you, Adobia. But do you know what's trending?
Oh yes, something very interesting is trending. Have you need to have a lot of audacity to want to steal not just any car but a police armored truck. You've seen that news going around, right?
Yes.
And people are just reacting, and some are hilarious. You have our own Nanaba
Well,
saying,
you'll be wondering what went into that person's
exactly.
mind.
So somebody is saying that the moment he was arrested, he should have been driven straight to the psychiatric hospital because this is so
It's not
uncalled
normal.
for, and it's still in the trends,
All
Mami.
right. Thank you, Adobia, for that. And just before we go, listen up. If your company is looking to entertain top clients or reward your sales team, Much Experience Hospitality just got their hands on a very small batch of official tickets to the World Cup semi-finals. That's July 14 and 15, 2026, and the final July 19, 2026. I'm talking real seats, hospitality included. With over a decade of bringing you the very best in sporting hospitality and building on our successful delivery at multiple FIFA World Cups, Much Experience Hospitality is Africa's leading exclusive sales agent for FIFA authorized hospitality packages. And the number to call for this limited offer is 0551 551119. That's 0551 551119, or email sales at matchexphospitality.com. And call right now, because when these are gone, they're gone. And that's all for the midday news. Up next is Live and Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil.